Hi, I'm Anahaita Kopal. I'm the Chief Executive Officer at Lifting Up Westchester.
And I'm Lauren Candela Katz, the Chief Development Officer at Lifting Up Westchester. Today, we're here to talk about Lifting Up Westchester, and you're going to be hearing from some of our staff.
They're going to tell you a little bit about our programs and how we try to help people get back on their feet so they can live independently in the community. So what is Lifting Up Westchester all about? There are over 1,600 people on any given day in Westchester County who do not have a permanent home. More than 150,000 county residents struggle to have enough food to eat every day. Living under these conditions can wear a person down, and in some cases, severely affect a person's mental and physical health. So people who are unhoused or experiencing hunger are not always the best version of themselves. Many in our society work hard to avoid interacting with them. Some even try to avoid seeing or thinking about them at all. But here at LUW, we actively engage people experiencing hunger and homelessness. We recognize that those experiences don't define who they are. And every day and every night, in both little and big ways, our programs help people to get as close as possible to that best version of themselves.
And what I love about the rich history of Lifting Up Westchester is that it started from Grace Church. And the members of Grace Church were picketing outside because there was a homeless person who passed away one cold wintry evening. And I think that really, for the first time, raised the issue of homelessness in Westchester County.
Our true impact comes from enabling our clients to return to their communities with the tools and resources they need to live stable, healthy lives. That means stable housing, stable income, and a stable support system. That means working together with our clients to create positive forward momentum in their lives.
I was 5 and my family lived in the shelter, West Hab, on and off for about 11 years. I remember stability in between, but I remember more being in the shelter than I remember being out into the world. When you go to Lifting Up Westchester, definitely their summer camp, you are there with counselors who were you. I participate in everything ever, like camp in the summer, the after-school tutoring programs, the little outings that we have. There were people like Taurus who cared and made sure that we had what we needed, despite what our parents couldn't provide for us, to get away from the shelter and just not have to be in a room with your siblings all day and your parents, and you can just run free and have still more kid interaction with structure, and it was always needed. Now that I have a daughter, reality sets in, so now it's make sure you have a roof over your head to provide for your kids so you're never living in that shelter. Just to make sure I do everything that I have to make sure she's never in that position. If Lifting Up Westchester didn't exist, kids would just get in so much more trouble. They wouldn't learn that the cycle is possible to be broken. You realize that just anything is possible. That your situation today is not going to be your situation tomorrow. Magic is made in that place, and you have to be there to believe it.
Hi, I'm Debbie Hertz, and I have the great fortune of guiding Lifting Up Westchester's 4 community-based program areas. Our goal with these programs and services is to work with individuals so they can restore or maintain self-sufficiency and independent living. What's unique about our approach is that we not only assist people to gain skills and feel confident in their abilities, but we also provide ongoing services and guidance to help keep individuals moving forward with their lives. The Housing Retention Program helps individuals receiving shelter services find housing and maintain that housing so they don't return to the shelter system. Our shelter case managers or outreach specialists refer individuals to a housing specialist who helps the client develop a budget, identify available housing opportunities, and then the housing specialist escorts clients to view apartments and helps negotiate leases with landlords. They also help ensure a smooth move by assisting in securing furniture and other household items, and providing guidance on how to set up and care for their home. Afterwards, we provide case management services for 6 to 12 months to provide referrals, life skills training, and other support so clients have all the services they need to stay stably housed. This includes help with getting utilities connected, finding a doctor or therapist close to the apartment, making a referral to our employment team, or helping with enrollment in an education program. Our employment and vocational services focus on helping individuals acquire skills and finding employment with the goal of attaining a livable wage.
Hi, I'm Charles Stott, the Director of Shelter Services, and I'm pleased to tell you about LUW Shelter Services. We have 2 shelters here at LUW, the Open Arms Men's Shelter and the Samaritan House Women's Shelter. Along with our community kitchen, our shelters are the oldest programs here at the agency and began serving the community in the 1970s, which means that we have been providing homeless individuals with safety, shelter, and healthy meals for over 40 years.
For 2023, we have sort of 2 new exciting projects in the vein that Lauren was describing. We are launching an employment and vocational training center, which for the first time will serve the entire community, not just Lifting Up Westchester clients living in shelter. And the idea there is to help people who are struggling economically or having difficulty finding a job to get decent wage jobs so that they have enough income to maintain their housing. And a similar project, a community center, actually at the community kitchen, but expanding the hours of that program to be all day so that individuals don't have to just come for a meal and leave if they have nowhere to go, but can stay all day and engage in educational, social, and other activities, and also a place where they can be connected to case managers and helpers who can help them address any other needs that they might be experiencing. And we feel that both of these programs will help people have both the support and the economic resiliency that they need to keep their housing and make sure that fewer people are homeless in Westchester County.
I had my own home and a husband and everything else. And I was a displaced homemaker, approximately early 50s, living with my parents. I was hit in a pedestrian car accident coming home from work. I lost a good job because of the recovery period. I lost half my spine. So this was depressing and caused me to have, I guess, a mental breakdown. I have been with Lifting Up Westchester for 17 years. There was a point where I could not manage my money due to the overwhelming physical and emotional and mental things that were going on, and they helped me manage it so I wouldn't lose my rent grant. I was successful to recover within this program. Last year, I certified as a peer advocate for the state of New York. Now, having the ability to understand how I got to where I am and how people get to where we are, I say that the community should support these programs because it might be your son or your daughter, people like myself on very limited income who do not necessarily quickly qualify for Section 8, we would be adrift. We'd have no chance to recover.
So why does Lifting Up Westchester have to raise money? Well, as a nonprofit organization, Lifting Up Westchester receives contracts from our local, state, and federal government to pay us for some of our programs, like our shelters and our supportive housing programs. But the contracts do not always pay for all of the costs. And there are no government contracts available for some of our programs that often make the biggest impact on people's lives, such as our community kitchen and afternoon programs and employment readiness, our youth services, and our housing retention services. And when I say programs, that means all the staff salaries and costs involved with operating those programs. This means that every year we have a budget gap that needs to be filled. So if we want to make sure that Lifting Up Westchester offers the right support at the right time to the right people experiencing homelessness and hunger and close the budget gap, then Lifting Up Westchester must raise resources.
It's so important for us to have the many corporations, individuals, and foundations that support us contribute to Lifting Up Westchester and our mission, because while we are the recipient of government funding for many of our activities, government funding is inherently focused on very specific prescribed activities, perhaps to operate a shelter or to have someone provide a certain service. But there are so many things that our clients need for which there is not a government-funded program. And yet without those interventions, they are not going to be fully successful. So we might have funding to provide summer camp for a student, but we might not have funding to provide them with the swimming costume or the sneakers that they need to participate in that camp. We might have money to help a student get into college and provide them with counseling, but not have the money to help them with the transportation they need to get to school. And so private dollars really fund what I like to call like all of the glue and the gaps that fill in the differences between all of those government programs, so we can help a person all the way and not fall short just because a program doesn't allow us to pay for a certain activity.
I'm reminded of the old proverb called butterfly effect, where when one person is struggling in the community, the wings reverberate throughout the entire community. And so we as a society and living in our communities really need to decide if we really want to take care of everybody so that the entire community could be strengthened. So for me, that's why it's so important that people sponsor, individuals donate, people get involved and volunteer. There's just an unlimited amount of possibilities to do good in our community. And I think when we do that, it just makes it better for everybody.
First, we have our shelter programs. Our Open Arms Men's Shelter and Samaritan House Women's Shelter are designed to be safe, welcoming, and resource-rich environments where people can rest, recover, and rebuild. Shelter staff build relationships with our guests so we can learn what people's unique needs, barriers, and goals are. We then partner with them to develop skills and plans that allow them to live successfully on their own. Second, our housing programs. Stable, permanent housing is the long-term goal for everyone we serve, and assisting them in finding that housing is at the core of our mission. That may mean a single room they can afford on their government benefits, an apartment where they receive a partial rental subsidy, or a market rate apartment that they can afford entirely through their salaries. Ensuring they have the skills and ongoing support they need to maintain that housing is also critical, and we provide case management support for as long as clients need it. Third, our employment and vocational training programs. Creating employment opportunities for people sets them on a path to steadily grow their income so they can earn a living wage and maintain their housing. We have been providing vocational training, employment readiness coaching, employment search, and ongoing employment support for our shelter clients since 2019. We are now launching an employment and vocational training center focused on others who may need intense support to get back into the workforce. This will allow us to help the community as a whole. Fourth, our community kitchen and day center. Stability is greatly enhanced when people have a support system. Reducing isolation for people who are struggling is an important element in their long-term success. We have been operating a community kitchen with weekday breakfast and lunch service for over 40 years. But we are now turning the community kitchen into an all-day community center where all members of the community can come to eat, socialize, learn, and get assistance from case managers who can provide them with resources and support. Last, but certainly not least, are our next generation programs. Without help, Young people whose families are experiencing homelessness and poverty are likely to experience homelessness and poverty themselves as adults. When faced with pressing immediate needs like where to stay, how to get food, and how to pay for basic needs, many parents are not able to focus on their children's education, socialization, and health. We support these youth and their parents by providing intense academic and mentoring support after school and throughout the summer, a traditional summer camp experience, and college prep and success coaching.
I got involved when we were coming back from the pandemic into my junior year. At first, it was just basic math help. It evolved to us just having different activities like puzzles, little games, and stuff like that. I think it's important because a lot of people don't really have much like activities to do after school and extra help in a lot of other schools. And I think it's very fortunate that we have this opportunity to, be more engaged with our teachers and other students as well. I think it's important to donate to this program because it will go a long way to help kids, especially after the pandemic, feel welcome, not feel so anxious or anything like that about themselves or other people. Meeting a lot of new people during this has helped me boost my confidence and just my attitude towards everybody. It's just an overall great way to boost your education, just getting the extra help you need, staying after school with their teachers and just being engaged in school activities because it goes a long way for school spirit and just the environment of the school. My goal is to play in the NFL and to basically just inspire others that were in the same situation as me growing up. I want to go to college not only because it's a great thing for my education, but also for my family because my brother, he didn't really go all the way through college, and for my mom, she only has 2 sons, so I want to be the one that makes it all the way.
Hi, my name is Annette Dela Cruz, and I wanted to take a few minutes to talk to you about supportive housing programs here at Lifting Up Westchester, which I'm responsible for leading. Supportive housing is subsidized housing for individuals who are facing specific challenges that make them a priority for stable housing. These programs offer a combination of long-term rental assistance and case management services to enable clients to live independently in the community in privately owned buildings. Our goal is to help people find housing, stay housed, and connect them with the treatment and other services they need to remain stable in their housing and move forward with their lives.
It was very hard because I was married and me and my husband separated, and I needed to find a place right away. I was working with AIDS-related community service as a case manager in 2017, and my world fell apart. I was struck with scoliosis, so I couldn't function. Barbara came and interviewed me for the program, and she told me you can either look for housing or we can help you. I had my son with me, so they allowed me to get 2 bedrooms, and my sons went on their own, so I came down to 1 bedroom. And they have helped me, with food. If there was a bill that I needed to pay, they would help me in that. Lifting Up Westchester has really been a great thing in my life, yeah. I'm able to pay my share of the rent. Financially, it's still hard because I get Social Security disability, and it's not a lot. It's just not a lot because I have other bills to pay, so it's kind of rough financially. Without the program, I would be lost. It's amazing, amazing to me that I have somebody like Lifting Up Westchester to be in my corner every day. I wake up, I thank God for this roof over my head. I thank God for Lifting Up Westchester because I would be in the streets if it wasn't for them, yeah.
So we have probably 10 different programs and so many success stories. I think that the average person in the population doesn't necessarily appreciate how much like us the average person that we're helping really is, and that once their housing is stabilized, their options are really limitless. So we have had people that are former clients become doctors and lawyers, and many people come back to either work for us to help other people in their situation, or who come back to volunteer or inspire some of our other clients. So I would love to just ask Lauren if she could tell a story about some of our young people who have come back, because we have really some extraordinary alumni of our youth programs who have come back to inspire other young people?
So we've had several youth who have gone through our summer camp program and our academic enrichment, tutoring, and mentoring program. And they've gone on to, we've gotten them into college and helped them graduate from college. And then they've gone on to graduate school. And, you know, we have this wonderful, fabulous woman, Ashandra, who became an attorney and now is raising a family and has a full career. We have Beatrice, who is I think a medical assistant and med tech, and every summer she comes back to summer camp. She takes her vacation time, she comes back to summer camp, and she volunteers at summer camp because she wants to make sure that the kids who are experiencing our summer camp today, who are homeless, understand that that is not always going to be their life for the rest of their life, that things can change, and that you know, that their today doesn't have to be their tomorrow. And so we have a lot of people who have gone through our summer camp who come and volunteer at summer camp. But we also have people who've come to our shelters, and they have also come back. They've donated clothes, they've donated items, they've come back when they've had positions open at their place of work to let other people have an opportunity to get employment. So we have a lot of that going on. We have people who come and donate food. So people are very interested when they go through our services. They want to be productive members of society, and they want to give back, and they do so actively.
So there are a number of organizations who focus exclusively on serving veterans. We are not one of those organizations, but as an organization that serves people who are unhoused and struggling in other ways, we certainly see more than what any of us would consider an acceptable number of veterans who are experiencing homelessness shortages or hunger or other crises. The way that we interact with the veteran population is they are prioritized for housing and services. We have a weekly, what's called a Patriots meeting with other providers in the county to identify anybody that is at any of our doors who has served our country, and make sure that we are working as a team to make sure they get the resources they need, whether it's housing or employment skills or mental health counseling or medical care or whatever it is they might need. Because I think everyone understands that people who have made that kind of a sacrifice should not be struggling without the support and the assistance that they need. So Lauren's actually responsible for managing our volunteer activities. Her team does that, and I'm going to let her give you some of the specifics. But I will just say that one of the great joys of this job, which can be stressful at times, is to just see the overwhelming amount of support that we receive from community members. And certainly there's financial generosity, but we have hundreds and hundreds of Westchester County residents that volunteer with us in one capacity or another, and the range is from 5-year-old children to seniors who are working with us in their retirement, professionals, students. It's really quite extraordinary, and the depth and breadth of the support, but also the creativity of the different things that people think of to try to find ways to help our clients. I find it very moving and very inspiring, but I'll let Lauren give you a couple examples.
Well, and I love the fact that we involve people of all ages, and we have a variety of opportunities for them to do so. So, for instance, when you're trying to teach your young child, what it means to give back to the community, how do you do that at an age-appropriate level? So we have a lot of do-it-yourself kind of projects that people can do collections and teach their kids about why they're doing it, and then can deliver it to the folks who are in need. There's Christmas toy drives. There's holiday meal preparation in our community kitchen and in our shelters. There's volunteering every day in the community kitchen and helping to serve the meals. There's serving and chatting with the individuals in our shelter, because so often everybody treats people who are experiencing homelessness is invisible, and they're not invisible, and they shouldn't be invisible, and we should see them. And if we are going to see them, then we should talk to them and take the time to get to know them a little bit, because everyone has their own unique journey and story of what has led them to this circumstance in the first place. And just seeing the humanity in each and every person that we serve. And then there are big projects, big collections that we always do, and volunteering and running a carnival at summer camp. I mean, mentoring students. I mean, the list is really endless of the opportunities that people have to give back.
The energy level at Lifting Up Westchester is very high. People come to work for us because they're passionate about what they're doing, and they understand that our business is people, and there's a certain urgency involved in helping people. And I think our volunteers come with that same focus and that same desire to really make something happen. And so it can be an intense environment, but I also think that it's a joyful environment. I think people understand, despite whatever challenges we may be facing in a particular situation, that we are trying to change lives, and that as challenging as that work is, it really is a privilege to be able to help someone get back on their feet. And when you see that success story, or you see someone move into their new apartment, or reunite with their family, or graduate from high school, those are all joys, and that being part of helping someone build their life is really a special privilege. So I think it's an energy, an intense energy, but a joyful energy.
That reminds me, Eileen Torres, the director of our youth program, always says, nobody is ever kicked out, nobody is ever written off. There is room for failure, and room for growth, and room for failure again, and room for more growth. And I think that is the approach that all of our staff take with all of our clients in every one of our programs. When people experience homelessness, it's very often because there's been some kind of traumatic events that has happened in their life, or a series of traumatic events that have happened in their life. And addressing those and helping people overcome the challenges that they have is not always easy, and it's not always a straight line to success. There's always bumps in the road. And I think that our staff, because they're so passionate, they are patient, and they understand that, and they are forgiving, and then that helps the clients to forgive themselves and to move their lives forward. And I think that is the beauty of the work that we do. It's healing.
I do this work because I am very proud of this country. I think it's an extraordinary place. And I think it's a crime that we have people who are not housed in our society. Sorry. And so I just think that those of us who have the ability and the will to, commit to this type of work really should, because we have more than enough resources to solve the problem of homelessness in America. We need more people like myself to have the will to do it, and to realize that the people that we are helping are us in the future, that any one of us could lose everything we have in a minute, in a severe weather event, in a family crisis, in a health crisis. And so to think that the people that are struggling have somehow done this to themselves, or are somehow weaker, or looking for something that isn't fair, is just wrong. And we need more people to focus on getting them back on their feet and recognizing them to be mirrors of ourselves. And so that's why I do the work.
And for me, it's so easy to walk down the street and ignore somebody who's lying on the street or walking by, in rags, and not acknowledging them. And every one of us at times in our life have needed help from somebody, guidance and support, in many different levels. And I think for me, why I do this work is because I get immense joy in just bringing the humanity to the table, to, helping people recognize that they have gifts to offer the world, whether it's their time or their money or their compassion or their knowledge, because I truly believe that it really does take everybody in the community to make it better for everybody, and that nobody should be out there on their own and invisible.